And we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight-up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, and today we're talking about Doom Eternal. It's finally here. Now, okay, like as many of you guys that watch us, maybe you watch the Friday show, of course you know that this has been one of our most anticipated games next to Cyberpunk. And yeah, I think it totally lives up to expectations here. We've been playing a review copy and can say that the game is bigger, crazier, and actually way weirder than you'd expect compared to Doom 2016. Now just keep in mind, no spoilers here. There is a lot of story, and I don't want to show much, and I'll try to avoid spoiling locations and stuff as much as possible. But still, just be aware going in. You're going to see some stuff. Also, just so you know, this was all captured on PC. There's a lot to cover, so buckle up. Doom Eternal thrusts you right into what feels like a whole new big adventure for our Doom guy. Without spoiling anything, Earth is in peril, and our trusty soldier is kind of the hero the world needs. You're on the ground level now a lot of the time. Demons and monsters have destroyed cities and skyscrapers, and it's just an awesome new backdrop for killing stuff. You're quickly thrust into a massively new and wide Doom universe of different races, creatures, and tons more lore than I really expected. Do not be concerned though. Gameplay and the surrounding gameplay systems are still very much the star of the show. And guess what? Doom Eternal kicks ass in this department. For me personally, this is still what I'm showing up for more than anything. The traditional, oldish school, slightly floaty, but more fun and crunchy as hell gameplay from the 2016 game has been turned up a bit here. It feels a little bit faster, a little bit smoother, and the moment-to-moment shooting is much more satisfying. First off, because now the enemies can literally fall apart as you blast chunks of them off. And it's like the perfect feedback. There's more strategic stuff to it too. Aim for a turret on an enemy's head and shoot that first to make your life a little easier, or maybe blow off the Mancubus's arm cannons first. There's more of an emphasis on weak points and strategy other than just cool new gore technology. It makes all the difference in both the gameplay, heightening, and just straight up fun factor. The other big changing factor in the gameplay flow is just how freaking much they give you. Platforming has a much bigger focus in this game, again, because of how much you have. Of course, you can double jump, you can directional dash twice, you've got a shotgun with a grappling hook, and you can do a little flippy swing thing on poles, and you can shove your hands into the walls of certain surfaces and climb up stuff really angrily. Think like the Incredible Hulk. There are parts of the game that are almost Super Mario-style platformers, complete with like those rotating lines of flame like Bowser's Castle from the classic games. I shit you not. Speaking to some reviewers, they weren't crazy about how the platforming kind of breaks things up, but me personally, I enjoyed it. I like the exploration in these games because it's just rewarding and it's fun. I like the way just the levels are designed and stuff like that. But I'll get to that. It's really great for flying around an arena while you're killing enemies. You can essentially play like, the floor is lava and kind of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater combo your way around the area, and it feels nice. The other thing they pile on you is more combat abilities. You, of course, need to manage glory killing enemies to get back health because you're constantly losing it if you're playing on a good enough difficulty. Same with ammo, of course. You need to manage fuel and chainsaw enemies to get back the ammo you're also constantly using. Now you also have a shoulder-mounted flamethrower as well. Set enemies on fire and then they start dropping all shards of armor for you. So now you're constantly farming 3 elements: health, armor, and ammo as you cruise around, and that just adds a little bit more depth. Plus, you also have a shoulder-mounted grenade launcher with optional swappable grenade types like an ice grenade to temporarily freeze and slow down enemies too. Also, glory killing builds up a more powerful blood punch you can use to clear crowds. It's almost to the point of having too much to juggle here. Some folks might forget one ability for a while and go, oh yeah, that's right, I can launch grenades. But when you get used to it, I think it perfectly walks the line of being just enough. Like, it gives a game that looks like it's just mindless blasting so much more to it. It can almost be like a competitive sport. Like, there's so much speed, so much to juggle at once, so actually using your brain, and there's so much skill required. I love it all. Even if I get my ass kicked a lot, the game will kick your ass. There are lots of difficulty modes, as you would expect from a Doom game, but it feels like overall the difficulty has just been ramped up overall from Doom 2016. But I think it's a good, satisfying difficulty. My biggest mistake, learned from me, I feel like, is positioning. Not knowing an area, and I've gotten myself cornered and pummeled a lot of times, so that's something to keep an eye on. I just want to say this, though. Like, you guys know I'm pretty easygoing, and I'm never an elitist about this stuff, but if you have any way or possibility to do so, please consider playing this with a mouse and keyboard. It's the way it's really meant to be played, and the game on controller just feels so different. The console version is good, of course. I'm not dunking on anyone. I play console games all the time, but I just really love how here specifically the game feels with the mouse and keyboard because of the movement and the amount of options you have. You know, I'm not usually picky with stuff like this, but I just wanted to throw my recommendation out there if you have the capability at all. But another thing I liked, there are a lot of new enemy types. They ramped it up considerably, and I found part of the fun was coming across new enemies and learning the best ways to take them out with different targeted areas and like with what tool and what weapon. A lot of enemies, like the original game did, they feel almost like boss introductions the first time you encounter them, and then by the end of the game, you've developed so much skill and so much know-how and so much tools that you're killing like 3 of those enemies at once. It's like a really good, satisfying progression loop, you know? Plus, there are a few ways to progress if we're talking about that, you know, to get better and fine-tune your play style. There's a lot. I'll try and be brief, but the weapon mod system does return, you know, and upgrading yourself is broken into a bit more parts. There are sentinel crystals that you can find and select to get certain passive bonuses that will lead to also improving health, ammo, or armor, and linking certain ones can get you more bonuses. You can also get coins defined throughout the environment to spend on your suit, giving you bonuses for exploration stuff like the map reveal radius or stronger grenades, stuff like that. Then you also collect runes, which you then have 3 slots to choose from, and each gives you direct abilities like slowdowns in midair, more midair control, longer window for glory kills, stuff like that. And they're very tricky to choose from because they're all pretty tempting and useful and kind of change the game substantially, at least the way you play. Now, along with that, good exploration and finding secrets nets you batteries that then you can spend back at your base to get more of all these things to just get better. Now, just note, this is all stuff that's earned in-game. Despite its complications, it's not designed to get you to spend money on microtransaction currency or anything, which is nice. But yes, you did hear that right. The Doomslayer has a freaking base floating in space above Earth. It's called the Fortress of Doom. It's like the Justice League Watchtower, but more metal. It's surprisingly big, and more happens to it the further you get through the game. You can practice against demons. You can view collectibles you found, like music records, which are really cool. You can upgrade yourself, and of course, dive into your next mission from a teleporter. This game takes you to some really wild and weird places and gives you tons of story beats and codex entries to read that are actually pretty interesting. The environments, locations, and even some characters are very unexpected and really make the game feel like a whole new thing. Doom 2016 was like a spiritual revival type thing. You know, it had the vibe of the original. Yay! This one goes out of its way to be weird and wild and new and really try to build more of a universe. And I think I like it because it doesn't like try too hard, you know? At first I was like, this is weird, I don't like it. But the more it went on, the more fun it got, and I just understood it all. There's a few things I don't like that I can't go into without spoilers, but really, the presentation from the opening cutscene that gave me chills and might be like the best opening game cutscene of all time, all of this shit is really top tier. And of course, the music absolutely owns. It's like the perfect fit, and it's even more aggressive and crunchy than last time. Now, on the multiplayer side, there's Battlemode, where id Software tried to rethink things a little bit and give you a mode that plays to the strengths of this Doom style instead of just deathmatch. And I'll be totally honest, since we are playing a review copy before launch, these things really come into their own after launch, so keep that in mind. But also, it's just not what I come to these modern Doom games for. But that's just me personally. Still, I think Doom Eternal is like an epic blowout of the original game. It takes the ideas and adds tons more on to kind of finish the puzzle in terms of shooting and movement gameplay, and gives you more RPG elements, collectibles, and stuff to keep you busy while not feeling forced or half-assed or weird. Plus, tons of work has clearly been put into the presentation, music, and all of the story and lore writing to really give you some bang for your buck here. Doom Eternal is challenging, punishing, extremely fun, and extremely rewarding. I cannot recommend this game enough. Big surprise. That's all the time I have today for this. This is, of course, a before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion. And now I want to hear yours down in the comments. What are you thinking about this game? Were you as excited about this as we were? Have you read all the reviews? Have you watched all the videos? What are you thinking? Of course, if you come back after this game is out, I would love to know what you think about the story, the presentation, just the portrayal of the Doomslayer. all that. Let's talk about it down in the comments. Of course, things get a little crazy over there, so if you want to yell at me directly, be sure to find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino. But of course, if you enjoyed this video, maybe learned something, clicking the like button does actually help us. We would really appreciate that. And if you're new, maybe consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But hey, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.